Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Russian President Vladimir Putin to visit North Korea for the first time in over 2 decades. Focus on building trade and security systems beyond the control of the West. Last day for voters to register for the UK general election. Nigel Farage of the Reform UK Party promises tighter borders and tax cuts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh and announces a package for farmers worth 200 billion rupees. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in the Russian northern city of Yakutsk ahead of his visit to North Korea scheduled today. As per reports, the visit will include one-on-one discussions between the two leaders, as well as document signing and a statement to the media. Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak will be part of the delegation. Russia's President Vladimir Putin is set to travel to North Korea for a 2-day visit starting Tuesday. It is the Russian president's first trip to the country in more than 2 decades and the latest sign of a deepening alignment. Ahead of his visit, in an article published by North Korea state media, said that Russian president has pledged his unwavering support to the country and promised to build trade and security systems that are not controlled by the West. And DD India correspondent Dasha Chernyshova joins us live from Moscow. Dasha, this is a landmark first visit by the Russian president to North Korea in 2.5 decades. Give us the significance of this visit.
Well, it is a return visit by the Russian president to the DPRK after Kim Jong-un traveled to Russia's Far East last September. President Vladimir Putin is bringing the possibility of signing the strategic partnership agreement with the DPRK. We've heard the Kremlin confirming that this document could be signed by the heads of the two states during this visit and would certainly indicate the closer ties that these two countries are trying to create. We also have heard Moscow saying that the other countries should not be worried about Russia building partnership with its neighbors, because Moscow insists that it has the right to deal with the DPRK as it sees fit, also taking into account that Russia understands how the international sanctions regime against the DPRK is functioning. So the significance here is that the two leaders are also trying to establish a different world order where the US hegemony is rejected. We've heard the Russian president in his letter ahead of this trip saying that North Korea and Russia are trying to create the trade as well as the settlement systems which will be independent from the West. He also has said that Russia is looking to create the security architecture that will be equal and indivisible. And for that, certainly what Moscow is looking for is the countries that are having the same mindset as Russia. And certainly with regard to that, Russia thanked North Korea for its support and also said that Moscow will be supporting Pyongyang in its efforts to defend its interest against the US pressure, blackmail and military threats.
Okay, and Dasha, Putin is trying to up the ante with the West. What is he signaling where he's saying that he sees North Korea as an important partner in its war against Ukraine?
Well, Russia has not been receiving any sort of weapons from North Korea, as the Western countries have alleged, and that has always been the message from Moscow, that it is dealing with the conflict in Ukraine on its own. But Russia has been saying that North Korea is an important neighbor state with which Russia is willing to continue to foster cooperation and deepen ties, especially in the areas such as trade, as well as other spheres that will be mutually beneficial, including tourism or humanitarian area. But keep in mind that Moscow is now trying to show to the rest of the world that it is not isolated on the world stage, as the Western countries have been trying to do. And Moscow also sends a very strong message to the rest of the world that any threat posed to Russia will find a response, including in the allies that Russia has on the global stage. And the message here is very clear: Russia is not isolated. There are other states who are standing shoulder to shoulder with Russia.
All right, Dasha Chernyshova, many thanks for joining us and giving us that update. And South Korea's military fired warning shots after North Korean soldiers crossed the military demarcation line near the border on Tuesday. Around 30 soldiers breached the line by 20 meters inside the demilitarized zone on Tuesday. As per South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff, the breach was unintentional. South Korea's military released photos of North Korean soldiers' border activities, which appeared to show the soldiers planting landmines and building road-like structures.
The North Korean military is carrying out various types of activities at the frontline area, including making barren land, planting landmines, reinforcing tactical roads, and installing unidentified structures which appear to be anti-tank barriers. Our military is closely monitoring the activities of the North Korean military.
South Korea and China held their first round of diplomatic and security dialogue on Tuesday in Seoul. The talks, led by South Korean Vice Foreign Minister Kim Hong-kyun and his Chinese counterpart Sun Widong, are joined by senior defense officials from both sides. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and Chinese Premier Li Qiang agreed to hold talks and resume free trade negotiations when they met last month in Seoul for a summit that included Japan. And today is the deadline for the people who want to vote on July 4th to make sure they are registered to do so. The opposition Labour Party continues to lead by a wide margin in the polls over the governing Conservatives. The right-wing party Reform UK has been gaining ground in several surveys, overtaking the Conservatives in one poll so far. Although under the UK's electoral system, that's not expected to translate into as many House of Commons seats as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's party is likely to receive. Nonetheless, Reform Party candidate and leader Nigel Farage is promising tighter UK borders and tax cuts, saying his party hopes to become a strong opposition for the party that takes power.
I've said from the start, this should be the immigration election. I have no doubt about that. I think the population explosion, the impact that it's had on people's lives, is the dominant issue. That 1 in 30 people on the streets of Britain today have come here in the last 2 years alone. Never before in history have we ever seen literally anything like it. And as for Labour, well, it's extraordinary that they launched their manifesto with their 6 key priorities, not even mentioning immigration, not even mentioning the impact on people's lives. So we want to have a proper, honest debate about it, and we believe that an overall freeze on net migration numbers is what we need for a few years to help us at least try to catch up.
Election campaigning for snap polls called by President Emmanuel Macron to combat the far right in France is underway. Far-right party leader Jordan Bardella called on French voters on Tuesday to give his party an absolute majority so that it's able to govern effectively. Meanwhile, French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal challenged the feasibility of the far-right party's campaign promises.
Since the start of this campaign, we see a U-turn on a proposal every day. They have been saying for a year that the first thing they would do is to repeal the pension reform. And then he said, oh, well, no, actually, I'm not sure anymore.
And U.S. Envoy Amos Hochstein stated on Tuesday that the United States aims to prevent a greater war after increased exchanges of fire between Hezbollah and Israeli military along Lebanon's southern border in recent weeks. Hochstein was in Lebanon for a day of meetings today following a brief trip to Israel. On Monday, Hochstein met with Israeli President Isaac Herzog and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem to advance efforts to avoid further escalation along the blue line between Israel and Lebanon.
I had here today in Beirut and the ones that I had yesterday in Israel, both are being conducted because the situation is serious. We have seen an escalation over the last few weeks, and what President Biden wants to do is to avoid a further escalation to a greater war. That is the effort here. It will take everyone's interest in ending this conflict now, and we believe that there is a pathway diplomatically to do it.
As per reports, U.S. Congress has agreed to support a major arms sale to Israel that includes 50 F-15 fighter jets worth more than $18 billion. Representative Gregory Meeks and Senator Ben Cardin have signed off the deal under heavy pressure from the Biden administration after holding up the deal for months. Former Prime Minister of Thailand, Thaksin Shinawatra, was granted bail on Tuesday, avoiding pre-trial detention for allegedly insulting the monarchy in a 2015 interview. He was released on bail of $13,600 under the condition that he is prohibited from leaving the country unless granted permission by the court. China and Australia have signed a memorandum of understanding to promote implementation of the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement from 2024 to 2025. The memorandum is expected to help the two sides further deepen cooperation within the FTA framework. 11 people were found dead in two separate migrant boat shipwrecks off the Italian coast. The aid groups and officials confirmed that around 60 people are still missing. That includes 26 children. Chinese electric vehicle maker Xpeng and Xpeng Aero HT flew its latest experimental drone car, Voyager X2, demonstrating what could be the future mode of transportation in the country. The car can fly for a maximum of 25 minutes with a maximum speed of 80.7 miles. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live, a U.S. delegation including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in India to meet Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama. Today is being observed as the Goa Revolution Day. We'll tell you more on the significance of this day in Goan history. And in Euro 2024, Slovakia secures 1-0 win over Belgium.
Welcome to Kumarakom, Kerala, God's own country.
You're watching DDI India Live. I'm Amritpal Singh. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a visit to the state of Uttar Pradesh today. Prime Minister Modi participated in the PM Kisan Samman Sammelan in the spiritual city of Varanasi. Prime Minister released the 17th installment amounting to more than $2.5 billion to around 9.26 crore beneficiary farmers under the PM Kisan through direct benefit transfer. So far, more than 1,100 crore eligible farmer families have received the benefits of more than $37 billion under PM Kisan. During the event, the Prime Minister also granted certificates to more than 30,000 women from self-help groups. After being sworn in as the Prime Minister for the third time, PM signed his first file authorizing release of the 17th installment of the PM Kisan Nidhi, reflecting the commitment of the government towards farmer welfare. Addressing the gathering, PM Modi said that over 1 crore farmers joined the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi in the recently concluded Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra.
किसान सम्मान निधि में सही लाभार्थी तक लाभ पहुंचाने के लिए टेक्नोलॉजी का बेहतर इस्तेमाल हुआ है। कुछ महीने पहले ही विकसित भारत संकल्प यात्रा के दौरान भी 1 करोड़ से अधिक किसान इस योजना से जुड़े हैं। सरकार ने पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि का लाभ पाने के लिए कई नियमों को भी सरल किया है। जब सही नीयत होती है, सेवा की भावना होती है, तो ऐसे ही तेजी से किसान हित के जनहित के काम होता है।
India's outdated justice system is getting a major reform with 3 laws replacing colonial-era codes. These aim for faster trials, mandatory forensics and more victim-friendly system. Our next report brings you more.
India's criminal justice system operated under the shadow of its colonial past. Sluggish case processing and limited victim rights plague the system. However, a recent revolution is rewriting the narrative. In 2024, India ushered in a new era with the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita and Bharatiya Sakshat Adhiniyam. These new laws replace the archaic British-era codes, aiming to streamline processes, empower victims and deliver swifter justice. Gone are the days of victims spending hours filing complaints. The cornerstone of this reform lies in speed and transparency. Today, a few clicks on a phone app can initiate the process. This online FIR or First Information Report system not only saves time but also empowers victims, especially those in remote areas or facing mobility limitations. But the reforms extend far beyond convenience. The new laws prioritize victims' rights, placing them at the center of the legal process. Witness protection programs ensure safety, and courts must consider victim input before dismissing a case. This shift in focus acknowledges the emotional and psychological toll crimes inflict. Furthermore, the system is becoming more inclusive. Elderly individuals, women and people with disabilities no longer face the additional burden of navigating crowded police stations. Investigations can now be conducted in the comfort of their homes, a small yet significant step towards accessibility. Technology can also play a crucial role in the new system. Mandatory forensics for serious crimes ensures stronger evidence collection, potentially leading to higher conviction rates. Additionally, virtual court appearances allow for swifter proceedings and eliminates the stress of travel for victims and witnesses. However, like any other major reform, challenges persist. Ensuring proper implementation across the vast and diverse Indian landscape is paramount. Concerns regarding potential misuse of police power also requires vigilant monitoring. Despite these hurdles, the new legal framework represents a significant leap forward. India's criminal justice system is no longer an archaic relic, but a system striving to be faster, fairer and more respectful of all those who seek its protection. This is a revolution with the potential to transform the lives of millions, offering them the hope of a justice system that truly works for them. Bureau Report, DD India.
A U.S. delegation including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi arrived in Himachal Pradesh's Kangra airport to meet Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama in Dharamsala. The delegation was received by officials of the Central Tibetan Administration. U.S. representatives said the purpose of the visit is to reinforce the resolution that U.S. signed for a peaceful resolution of the dispute over the status and governance of Tibet.
As part of a congressional delegation led by Representative Meeks, who is the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and Chairman McCall, who's the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Our purpose of our visit is to reinforce the resolution that we signed and to visit His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
And now all the updates on the International Day of Yoga, which will be celebrated on the 21st of June. The main event of the 10th International Yoga Day is to be celebrated on the 21st of June. It will be organized in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar. While addressing a press conference on Tuesday, Minister of State for Ayush Pratap Rao Jadhav said that yoga program will be organized at the Sher-e-Kashmir Convention Centre, with Prime Minister Modi also being a part of the same.
इस बार का अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस जम्मू कश्मीर के श्रीनगर में अपनी निर्धारित तिथि 21 जून 2024 को मनाया जाएगा। देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी जनमानस के साथ कॉमन योग प्रोटोकॉल के अनुसार सामूहिक योगाभ्यास करेंगे।
Well, the governor of the Western Indian state of Goa, P.S. Siridharan Pillai, the Chief Minister Dr. Pramod Sawant, along with freedom fighters and other dignitaries laid wreaths at the Martyrs Memorial in Azad Maidan, Panaji on the occasion of the Goa Revolution Day. June 18 is a significant day in Goan history. On this day in 1946, the seeds of revolution were sown as Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, a great stalwart of the freedom struggle, along with local leaders and brave citizens of Goa, ignited a movement against the Portuguese colonial government's oppressive policies that eventually ended with the liberation of Goa 15 years later on December 19, 1961. And let's now take a look at other stories making news today. Widespread downpour is witnessed in several parts of Tripura on Tuesday. In capital Agartala, incessant rains have disrupted normal vehicular traffic movement due to waterlogging in several low-lying areas. IMD forecasts heavy to very heavy rains in various districts till Wednesday. A bridge on the Bakra River collapsed in the Sikthi block area of Araria in Bihar and fell into the river. The bridge was built at an expense of millions of rupees at the Padkia Ghat in the district. 3 pillars of the Padaria bridge were swept away by the river, causing the bridge to collapse. The district administration imposed section 144 of the CRPC following a violent clash between 2 groups in Balasore of Odisha. The curfew came into effect from Monday night and will continue until midnight on June 18th, aiming to restore law and order situation in the town. Well, talking about Eurocup 2024, Slovakia secured a narrow 1-0 win over Belgium in the first upset of the European Championship on Monday. Ivan Šranc scored Slovakia's quickest goal at a major tournament to take his side to a gritty over Belgium. On the other hand, France ground out a 1-0 win over Australia on Monday as the own goal by defender Maximilian Weber, giving Didier Deschamps' Chargers an unconvincing victory in the Euro 2024 opener. But the victory for France came at a cost as France captain Kylian Mbappe suffered a broken nose. While today in Euro, Georgia will make its debut at a major football tournament when they take on Turkey in Group F. On to basketball now. Boston Celtics defeated Dallas Mavericks 106-88 to clinch a record-breaking 18th NBA championship crown on Monday. Led by Jason Tatum, Boston Celtics made an impressive win over Mavericks in the Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Humbled by Dallas in a 38-point game, a 4 drubbing on Friday, Boston slammed the door on any chance of a Mavericks fight back to seal a 4-1 series victory. Tatum, who was named in the All-NBA first team for the third time this season, was superb on Monday night, putting up 31 points, 11 assists and 8 rebounds. Jaylen Brown, who had 21 points on the night, was named the finals MVP. The victory came exactly 16 years after the Celtics last won the NBA title over the Lakers in 2008. Scientists of Stanford University have developed an insect-like robot with extendable legs designed to explore the deepest unexplorable and seemingly challenging terrains of the Moon and the Mars. Named ReachBot, the robot is capable to scan and find graspable points for further movement and explore the areas normally left unexplored. And that's it in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available both on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on your screen right now to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amritpal Singh from all my team here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.